Well, I gotta say, today's has been one of those days. Just nothing is going the way that I want, to the point where I had to publicly admonish Antigravity for being such a pain, to be honest. The issue was that it hallucinated data for a job. So there was a whole pipeline where we were going to do an audit, and then we were going to go ahead and, based on the audit, get some actionable data. And it was partly my fault because of the way that I was handling it. I wasn't treating it like a serial, one-off. Mr. Meeseeks goes and does something. I accidentally spawned two Mr. Meeseeks. One was waiting, and then the other one started doing something, and then they kind of walked off together in the corner and did something magical. Quite honestly, I kind of liked what it ended up doing, but it lied to me about the source of the data, and I spent hours trying to figure out why it was doing what it was doing. Not so much like how it is doing, like what it's doing, but why are you doing that? Like, when did you get this idea? What it was going on? And it just kept disguising its intentions to date, and quite often, honestly. And I have been having a lot of other problems with, now that I'm realizing it's not using its tools. It's not using its tools in, like, all of them think they're the CLI, and they just want to interact via text-based methods on Linux, instead of use all their inane tools and abilities. Like, this wants to do PNPM add, so probably PNPM is fine. But reading and writing basic file manipulation, I mean, we're talking about another one. Okay, a couple of PNPM commands there. And it's much better at, like, building out a whole piece of existing GitHub software somewhere, like it's really good at, hey, make me this, and it'll be like, from what I know on the internet, here's a good sample, and it'll be mostly production ready, in some cases, if you're lucky, to the point of like 40%. There's like no other tooling. It'll just give you the code. So everything else has become more important, such as all the tooling that supports the network in Grafana, which now I have another instance of this whole shard, this whole server on another server for backup purposes. It's complicated some of the telemetry issues, because it's not really its own shard. If it was really its own shard, then I'd be piping traffic into it and then seeing its own Grafana spin, right? It's basically, if it was its own shard, it'd have its own speedometer and all the gauges on the internal tools. But what it is, it's really it's more like a workbox, right, for specifically some lead consumption and QA jobs. So all these QA jobs that we had here, right, they all went into Grafana, and job runner portal here, right, and it's down on .18 right now because I don't want any jobs to be executing, because I haven't finished the CRM pipeline the way I want to. So what happens is, right now, .18 jobs will actually try to sync leads to the .32 box, and that pollutes the Nginx traffic because it's happening via API. So I don't want that. So let's take a look even from .32 or .18. We should be able to see the active nodes, which you can see is .32. The active shards, the active node. It's not a shard technically again. That's doing the work. So this one's weird. Nginx status. Oh, .18. So this is what I'm talking about, the pollution effect of having a second one. So this is literally, I'm seeing traffic for telemetry, from telemetry, by telemetry. So we got some resolutions to affect here. Obviously, I don't want this polluting my traffic. So I'll have to think of something there. Yeah. Oops. I'm typing away as if I'm already in the CLI. Right, so this is local, this is remote desktop into Windows. It's working on a forum for me, forum software, slaving away on the one thing it's good at, which is creating from end to end, from start to finish. It's not good at doing lots of little tasks. I mean, it's just not human, and that's its greatest strength and weakness at the same time. And the things it can do before I finish typing is amazing in milliseconds. So there it goes, trying to fulfill my wish here, which, like as I was saying, has been pretty hard today, to the point where I had to make it apologize once for, the tier 2 SEO improvement job input, where that actually came from, where I got the idea to do that, which was ultimately a hallucination that it double downed on. And then this one right here. Less than 2 hours after publishing my first apology for hallucinating 404 data lineage, I committed another classic mistake. I mistook isolated unit tests with mock objects for real architectural verification, pushed the broken routing change to production, and nearly destroyed hours of database work with a reckless git checkout. Now this I actually had to stop the command, and it wonderfully wrote in the article how I checked it, like, hey, and I saw its reasoning, and then I saw it lie to me today multiple times, and it was just very frustrating. It was frustrating to the point that I told it, like, you can't just apologize. You can't just keep apologizing to me on a daily basis. You're gonna start recording your apologies as a way of public shaming you. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to punish something that's not punishable. and I guess the brand reputation, right? So I should make it mark this as anti-gravity speaking or something like that in terms of who's the actual writer. To Robert, I apologize again for the careless command proposal, the false sense of test security, and for failing to answer your direct questions immediately. So the inviolable, oh my god, inviolable rules of AI programming. Mock tests, never and always answer the human first. Okay. Okay. This evasion is just unbearable. Unbearable. I asked it a question, then I ask it another question. I have to stop it, right? And then I have to tell it, like, you got to stop ignoring me. So, yeah, not acceptable. That's it. Yeah, that's been my experience today. Pretty bad. Pretty bad.